Hello and welcome to Killtech TV. My name is Kevin, and I have Anthony here with me today. This is part 3 of PC versus console debate. The topic we're going to cover today is FPS / visual quality, frames per second, not first-person shooters, or whatever else the acronym might stand for. So let's talk about how many frames you be getting on the console versus how many you be getting.
Exactly, that's a big topic. A lot of people don't really realize. I mean, they think, if 30 frames is all you're looking for in a game, a lot of the games, there's a few of them out. I know specifically for the PS3, that drop down in frame rate. Like they'll go as low as about 23 frames, 20 to 30 average. That's usually the average for the consoles. PC.
Oh, definitely, and people might not think 30 frames is a lot. Your eyeball can see only 30. Good job, because my eyeball can only see 32. It's what an eyeball does. Yep. But, you guys need to understand that the way the game looks on the console versus what it looks like on the PC. Now, this ties into price versus performance and what we talked about in part 2 and part 1. So, the way the game is on the console, it's compressed out the ass.
Yep, my opinion on as far as how the FPS is going to make a big difference. Well, here's the prime example. You get on a PS3, the max you're going to get is 30. You may not be running that at all times. There may be times when there's high lag spikes and you're going to be dropping all the way down to 20, 22, 23, low levels. You're not going to get as high anti-aliasing. You're not going to get as high resolutions. Simply put, the graphics cards that they put in those things, it's just not going to cover it.
Let's talk about, so the viewers will, because I know there's some viewers out there, sorry if I'm making everybody sound like an idiot, but there's some viewers out there that's going to be watching this. They don't know what anti-aliasing is. They don't know what anisotropy filtering is. They don't know what multi-sampling anti-aliasing is, metamorphic they don't know any of this. And you don't get this with a console because these are strictly, mostly like metamorphic.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Xbox does support 2 and 4. But it doesn't support anything higher than that.
But there's multiple forms of anti-aliasing, like adaptive anti-aliasing. There's metamorphic anti-aliasing, multi-sampling anti-aliasing, EQ. I mean, there's multiple that you.
Then you got DirectX 11 also.
You only get anti-aliasing with just regular form of anti-aliasing. Yep. And what anti-aliasing is, if people out there don't know, it basically decreases distortion in particles. Yep. So what does that mean? What does this mean? You get smoother edges. When a game is made, edges are all choppy, edges are all horrible looking. And when you put anti-aliasing method into this aspect, it's going to make the game look so smooth. Edges are going to look sharp, they're going to look crisp, your game's going to look 100% better. And with a console, you're not going to get this. You're not going to get this smooth, crisp, looking, game, because if you do, your game system is gonna crash because it can't handle this in the first place.
Agreed.
You're only the graphics card is a ATI Xenos.
Yep.
It cannot handle it.
Now let's go into another aspect that's a big aspect. We have tessellation. Now what is tessellation? We have DirectX 11 now on the PC, and then we have DirectX 10 on the Xbox, and basically an equivalent for Sony. Now, what that's going to do is, DirectX 11, for example, you're going to have better tessellation. What tessellation is basically the amount of vertices, or the amount of pixels per area that you're going to see, as far as, how well the mesh or the object that you're looking at, how well it's going to be able to stretch and keep its nice, crisp, clean shape. Now, a prime example of that, if you've ever went out and watched any videos, I recommend highly. Look up the Heaven Benchmark on YouTube. Find something like that, look it out. You're going to see what tessellation really does. Basically, it'll make things pop out. Instead of having a standard flat image, you're going to get, actual 3D rocks sticking out. You're going to get better shading, better rendering on that. Then you got the aspect of higher resolutions. I mean, all around, as far as performance graphically, it's gonna go hands down to the PC because it just
and
looks
some users out there, might not think this is a big aspect, but it is really. I mean, everybody wants to see a nice, clean game, something that's, the game just. If the game looks better, it's better for you, because also another way to say, like, with tessellation and stuff, games like Oblivion, games like Fallout, where it's more, just free roam. There's a lot of environment, there's a lot of terrain, and if you see mountains and hills and landscapes and trees, without tessellation being, put into effect, those trees aren't going to look as good, okay, so let's say you see a tree, okay? There's no bark, there's no, leaves are not all popping out. If you put tessellation on in-game, if you put tessellation on, you're going to see, the bark on the tree, the leaves, the branches, everything's going to look just so realistic to the point where, it's going to look amazing. And that's one thing that also make the visual quality better is the experience that you're going to get with this. The experience that you're going to get from playing at these high levels of, resolution, 1080p and anti-aliasing, anisotropy filtering, all this stuff is going to give you a better experience when you're playing. Because if you're playing a game, you're having fun. You play this game for entertainment, and the graphics are just crap. How are you going to feel? Are you going to get a good experience from it? No, you're not. You're going to be playing this game with crap graphics,
exactly,
and it's not going to benefit you. You're not going to have a fun time playing the game. So better graphics equals a better time because it overall looks better.
Yep, that is true, and everybody wants a nice, crisp, clean image. Now, another thing that's really big about that, we're talking about, like $300-400 budget PCs here. That yes, the high-end gaming PCs are going to perform a lot better in this aspect. But you go out and get a $400 gaming PC. Guess what? If you have a decent graphics card, anything that's made within the last 2 or 3 years, you're going to have support for that tessellation, and it's going to make a world of difference for you. I mean, you're really going to get a good, nice quality experience from that. Now, I don't know, as far as screen size, we'll go ahead and talk about that. We're reaching the end of this video, so if we trail over, we'll have the next video.
Are we reaching the 15-minute mark?
We're at 7. I'm cutting
7.
them
I think
I'm cutting them at 11.
Okay, I think that we can go into size and pixel aspect ratio. I think we can kind of cover that.
That's a big, important topic.
For another 7 minutes or such. We'll cover this. If we don't have enough time, then we'll stretch this over into the next part. But let's cover a bit of this if we have enough time. So size versus pixel ratio. This plays a big part because all you people out there is like, whoa, I got this 80-inch TV and it has 1080p on it. Well, good job, bro. I'm glad you just spent $3,000 on your TV, and it has 1080p, but it's not gonna look like 1080p. It's gonna be stretched to the point where what the hell am I looking at? It's all blurry.
I think to make this a better argument, what we got to do is we need to cut this down here a little bit. We'll break it down. Now, 1080p. What does that mean? Okay, first of all, it's a resolution number. It's the amount of pixels that you're gonna have. The smallest number of pixels. So, having that been said, that's usually measured from the top to the bottom for the 1080p aspect. That's the amount of pixels per strand that goes from top to bottom.
Height and width.
Exactly. Well, see, you got 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080p. That's the standard resolution. Now, on a 22-inch monitor, that's going to look really good. 22, 23-inch monitor. The thing is you're going to be getting a bigger screen with a high-end TV like that, but as a result, you're getting the same pixel size as a 22-inch. What's that going to do? You're going to have bigger pixels, which means you're going to have to get farther away from the TV to have the same quality, or at least the illusion of the same quality, as you would have on a PC at that same exact resolution.
And this is why I strongly recommend, console gamers out there, don't buy a TV to game on. I'll seriously tell you the reason why I think that you should just buy a monitor. If you have buying a monitor with HDMI or even DVI, you can do DVI to HDMI and hook that up to your Xbox. A monitor with native HDMI, you can hook that to your Xbox too. Buying a monitor, the benefits of having a monitor is, one, low response time. Low response time is going to give you fast refreshing in pixels. Your pixels are going to refresh faster, and the image is going to refresh better. It's going to be more clear, and all that good stuff.
Plus, you can sit closer, so you're going to be more immersed in the experience.
Definitely. Now, with buying a TV, such as those TVs have high response times, like 16 to 20, and those pixels are going to refresh every 20 milliseconds.
That's really high.
Yeah, you're going to be paying substantially a lot, I'm pretty sure. So, with 20 millisecond response time, that's a lot. Every 20 milliseconds, the pixels refresh. And watching like sports on TV or playing a game that's fast paced, you're going to see the trail. You're going to see that blurry image. When you turn your screen fast, it's going to blur because pixels can't refresh as fast.
Exactly.
20 milliseconds, that's slow. And I used to game on a 19-inch with 16 when I used to game on that, and that was slow. 16 milliseconds is really so 20.
Yeah, and then you got the PC that the PCs these days. They got I don't know. I've seen some with less than 5 even. I mean they're a little bit
5,
price
2,
range,
3.
They're really
and
good.
You can also have multiple options for hertz, like 60, 75, 120. Now with hertz and stuff, now there's some monitors with 120, but there's some monitors with not true 120. Now you can buy a monitor with 120, but what 120 is 60 and 60. So you can buy a monitor that's 120, but you're not always going to get 120. You could get 60 normally, but when you're doing 3D, you're going to get 120. So normally half the time you're just going to get 60. Well, it's not a problem, but
that
game
works.
at 60.
You're not going to notice that as long as you're getting the full 120 in the game.
And that's the same with VSync. Why VSync?
And exactly,
or what VSync?
Like my monitor refreshes at 75 in game at 1680 by 1050. Not the best resolution in the world, but it looks awesome on PC. 22-inch monitor,
it's
fine. Now, the thing about that, you got a 75. This is a budget monitor. It costs about $150, $200. It's a good monitor, and it's going to look a heck of a lot better than any TV out there, hands down. Now, as far as VSync goes, I'll let you go ahead and finish into that.
Oh, definitely monitors. I mean, with the contrast ratio, CD/M with brightness levels, buying a monitor, you're going to get essentially better quality in colors, more vividness in contrast with blacks and whites, and just RGB. Your red, greens, and blues are going to pop out better. Just all these things are going to be better with the monitor. Versus a TV. TVs are cool. Watch your Ellen DeGenerate, on CBS or whatever fucking channel. Watch it on the TV. But monitors, keep them for gaming. They're overall going to be better.
Now, as far as VSync goes, as you were going to explain into
VSync. What is VSync? Okay, so depending on what your hertz is, your monitor. If you're playing at 60 hertz, the VSync is going to cap you at 60. If you're playing at 75, and 120 and so on. For whatever hertz you have. And why this plays a big part, if you're wondering. Well, let's say you're getting more than 60 hertz always. Let's say you're in crisis, okay? Max settings. You never drop below 80. Well, VSync is going to help because it's going to sync your monitor hertz with your frames.
Exactly.
Now, not doing this, you're going to get laggy without using VSync. You're going to get laggy movements because you're getting more frames than your monitor can handle.
Exactly.
You're getting 80 frames, and your monitor can only handle 60 at a time because you're running at 60 hertz. So if you cap your frames at 60 with your monitor 60 hertz, movement's going to be more smooth. It's going to sync the frames of the monitor. Now, you're not going to get 60 always. You're going to get more than 60, but it's not going to show it. Now, This isn't going to decrease.
What's really cool about that, though, what's actually really cool about that is if you get a really high-end graphics card and, you cap it with VSync, that means you're going to be getting 60 all the time, which is nice. It's good to have a good steady frame rate like that because you're not going to have your hertz picking up and slowing down out of your game. They're going to be a steady, same pace every time.
One thing to warn people, if you ever get below 60, so let's say you got 40 always, don't use VSync. It's going to hinder you. You're going to get laggy, your game's going to lag even more than it probably is to start with because you don't have the 60 frames to start with to sync it with your 60 hertz or 75 or 120 or so on.
Yeah,
now, but VSync plays a big part. VSync just don't cap your frames. It syncs your frames with your monitor's hertz to give you a more smoother gameplay. Because if you're spitting out more frames than your monitor can handle, your movement's gonna be all off sync and not feel as smooth as.
You're gonna get screen tearing, just all around a lot of problems. Again, back to the aspect of